size. If I take off this, it's just like a few millimeters bigger
than
the iPixel.
So when the Note first came out, the very first Note came out, I was like, that is ungodly large. Whoever is going to carry that thing around?
Right.
So when just now you told me this was the Note 9, I was like, well, that's just a phone.
Yeah, we got used to
we were calling things
because everything's getting so big.
We were calling things phablets back then. Like I think we pretty much just eliminated.
Are we past saying phablet anymore?
I think we are.
Like this is just a phone?
It's just a big ass phone.
Technical terms, this is a big ass phone actually,
not a
phablet. Yeah.
Look, an acronym for everything, my friend.
Absolutely.
There
I
usually
like that.
is one.
I like just if it gets too big, it just put big ass in front of it.
Big
there we go.
But
All
the
right,
Galaxy 10 will be like the biggest.
It's going to be bigger than that.
Yeah, like 7 inches or something.
See, that's the
like
problem.
that,
It's
remember?
too. I don't know. My hands are too small. I can't.
Well, then why have a Note at all? Just because the S Pen?
Okay. Well, let's talk about that. We have to get into this because I think we're coming in live right now. Hello, everyone. This is Trends with Benefits. This is our weekly podcast here from Digital Trends, where we talk about the trending tech topics of the day. We're broadcasting live on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Periscope, and Twitter. I think are both of those at the same time. So wherever you're watching us, thanks for joining. And we have lots to get to today. We're going to talk about everything from Apple getting hacked by a 16-year-old Australian kid who bragged about it online, and that's the only reason he got caught. We're going to talk about the difference between MicroLED and OLED, which I think it's time for a refresher on that because even I get confused on that stuff. We're going to talk about a possible robot actor, maybe getting into SAG, and lots of other things. But the first thing we want, it's true. It is true. So lots of stuff to talk about. We want your comments, your questions, everything that you have on here. And the opening question that we had was, if you, imagine price was not a factor, would you rather own a Samsung Galaxy Note 9 or an Apple iPhone 10? If you could be gifted one of those two, which one would you take and why? And we do have a Galaxy Note 9 here with us today, but let's introduce our cast of characters. I'm Greg Nibler, and to my right...
Tequiliana. I can finally say I like doing
Tequiliana.
It's Juliana Tequiliana right here joining us, and on the end...
The Whiskey Mist.
Everything's alcohol themed today.
Yep. Just like I like it.
You guys should have had some shots of tequila and whiskey. I didn't even think about that. I'll try to plan that better next time.
Yeah, let's get on the other side of IFA and do that.
Okay, there we go. We'll make that happen here at some point. Well, let's talk about this. So you have Juliana in front of us one of the Galaxy Note 9s, the actual phone right here. And what we were talking about is what Caleb was bringing up is that it doesn't seem as big as you would think.
No, man, because when I remember when the Note series first came out, and they were calling them phablets because they were somewhere between a phone and a tablet.
Right.
You know, it was because they were massive. Now I'm looking at this thing and I'm just like, that's just another phone.
Right.
You know?
It's not as big of a deal.
With I mean, it's got the S Pen, so there's that. And we talked about that a little bit.
Well, so talking about a couple of the things with it. Yeah, the S Pen does seem to be one of the things that people are talking about the most because it's Bluetooth now.
Yeah.
So you can use it as kind of a clicker
or a presentation tool, or you can draw.
Yeah, but that's not enough to be to be a big deal for you.
Well, I really like the S Pen. Every time I use a Note for some reason, I end up liking the pen a lot. And basically, it's because I hate fingerprints. And I can use the phone with the little thing. And I know that there's these extra accessories that you can buy that it's like a silicone tip or something. But it's not. You forget it somewhere, and then you end up using your fingers.
So for you, the storage in the phone is a big deal.
The what?
The storage in the phone for the S Pen.
Yeah, in the phone, like you won't lose it, you won't forget it. And actually, it does some pretty amazing things, like taking pictures with there's a tiny button right here. Then, like, if you press it once, it takes the picture. If you press it twice, it changes the camera that you're using, the front camera or the back camera.
Okay. But you've used S Pens before, or some kind of a pen.
Not a pen, not a stylus, digital, just like the one with the tip, like the silicone tip. But I like that you can store it here, and actually it charges super fast, like in 30 seconds or something like that. You have enough battery to use it for 40 minutes. Okay. So it's like super fast. You won't run out of battery with this one, and the battery is massive in this phone. It's 4,000. Yeah. But we've seen that. I don't know if it's the settings. I still have to play with it. We've seen that it doesn't last as much as we thought it would.
Really, for that size of a battery, so it's eating it up in there.
Yeah. So, but I still don't know. Like,
this is brand new. Just have it in front of us and taking a look here at the question, just to see what people are commenting on. It's overwhelmingly, people are wanting the Samsung Galaxy Note 9 over the iPhone 10, which is kind of surprising to me. I expected it to be more iPhone 10s in there. There's a couple of Tom's an iPhone person, but yeah, most people are saying that or a different phone. I'm just saying between these two, if you had to pick, for me, it would be the Galaxy Note 9 as well, but that's mainly because I'm an Android person already. So it'd just be a natural progression for me. But Caleb, what do you think on this?
I mean, it's a sexy phone. Yeah. I don't personally have any use for the S Pen. At least I don't think I do now. Maybe if I had it and I got to play around with it, I would get into it. I'm currently an iPhone owner, and I would probably go with the iPhone 10.
Yeah, and that's the choice you would make over that.
Yeah, I have not been pushed over the edge. It's happened a few times where I was like, oh, maybe I need to switch to Android here, but that's cute. That's amazing. You have really good penmanship. Especially
it's
you
really
have great
easy to
S
use.
Penmanship.
It's just like a regular pen. I mean,
yeah, you're kind of selling
really
me on this stylus, on this S Pen.
And then if you have something quick to write on, you just like take it off, even if it's locked, and you just.
You know what I do like? I mean, as a reporter, I can sketch out a sketch way faster than I can type with my thumbs. Still, believe it or not, and it's also less distracting. I can do it without looking. I can write without looking, whereas I kind of need to have my eye going down to the screen every once in a while to make sure that what I'm typing isn't gobbledygook. So that could be useful. I will say I like that it has a headphone jack because I'm old school.
Yeah,
I like that it has a headphone jack.
Really cool.
I still every once in a while I'm like, oh well, I'll just plug it into that. Oh, no way. I won't. I guess not. So I still run into that need a headphone jack thing every once in a while. But that's because I have a weird jobs.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm on the fence. My first reaction was iPhone 10 because I have historically been an iPhone user. But you know what? I'm pretty sure I could convert to Android in a jiff. Right. And we've had people here who did it. Ryan did it, and he's happy he did it, and he's still using his LG.
Yeah. From an iPhone. And that's what, and take a look here in the chat too, and let us know, have you recently converted maybe from Android to Apple or vice versa? Because overwhelmingly it's people wanting the Note 9, like I said, with a few exceptions, wanting the iPhone 10 out of that. I don't know whether it's just because it's brand new, because I really am surprised. I just expected iPhone fan to be coming in here and talking about iPhone 10 all day long.
Juan, the TS editor-in-chief, he really likes the everything Apple, and he actually just sent me this phone yesterday. He was using this same unit, and I asked him today, because they're the same price, the iPhone 10 and this one. Yep. I asked him which one would you prefer, and he surprised me with the answer. He actually said the Note 9, and he's been a long time Apple fan, iPhone fan mostly.
So this is enough. So other than that, I mean, and we talked about the features before. We've got other than the stylus, the S Pen. What are the main things that you like about it? The battery.
There's new stuff regarding the camera. It's become smarter. So if you end up taking a picture that's blurry, sometimes you take a picture and don't notice until you left that it's blurry. So if you take a picture and it's actually ends up being blurry or someone blinks, it lets you know right after you take the picture. It says someone blinked or it might be blurry. You want to retake that picture, and that's something kind of neat. Yeah. Something else that I liked is sometimes when you're taking a selfie, I have small hands and these phones are big, so you end up trying to actually push the shutter button, and it's kind of difficult. So a way to do it is just you just put your hands up like this and just take it off, and it snaps the picture like that. Okay. So it's easier to manage with the motion.
It can recognize scenes too. If you're first of all, the low light photography is supposed to be better with this because it has a dual aperture main camera, and I think that it can recognize if you're shooting a sunset or other scenes. It can auto balance the exposure and the contrast. ISO to get a better shot, so you don't have to manually make those adjustments. Like on the iPhone, you got to press and hold and then go up and down and decide, I guess this is good enough, and then hit the go button. It sounds I do appreciate
that kind of technology on that, because that is kind of a pain trying to adjust that for any kind of situation. So if it's automatically doing that, that's a good use of the AI. Does the iPhone do that as well?
No,
it doesn't.
It doesn't. Most of it gives you some manual control, but it doesn't have the specific features that Samsung's rolled out with this.
Okay.
And something else is Fortnite. I just downloaded it.
Oh, right.
Like half an hour ago.
You play Fortnite. Yeah, this is a something on there. Are you new to Fortnite?
Yeah, I have not played it at all. Right. So I was just downloading it and trying to like do something before I jump on the podcast, but I didn't have enough time. But it comes with a skin. A Fortnite skin if you have the phone, and if you're a fan, then that's a big plus.
If you're a fan of Fortnite, so that's an advantage. Well, taking a look here, I did see one thing. So Vivek says he is in India, and the 512 gigabyte variant of the Note 9. I think that's the one that's like 12 or 13.
That's 12 or 13.
12. Yeah, 1250.
He said
I think
in India it costs $100 less than the 64 gig iPhone 10. So for some reason, the pricing is different over there.
No.
So there you go. Go to India. That's apparently where you can get it for a little bit cheaper. And
$1,000 phone, though.
Yeah.
Come on. Really? Yeah. Stop it.
That's going to be the new standard. I mean, that's for the high-end phones. I mean, I'm going to guess the new Pixel is going to be that same price
Prices
range,
on high-end stuff usually go down. Like, I mean, when you introduce an OLED TV, it's brand new technology, and yes, it's expensive, but it's not like they get more expensive as the years go on.
Right.
They become less expensive. I'm not sure I've seen an area where I've seen more tiny incremental improvements justify quantum leaps in pricing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we went from 800 to 1,000 with the iPhone, and did we really get $200 more out of it? Especially when the prices of everything else are going down? No. So, I call shenanigans. Stop it.
There you go.
Both of you, Apple.
Caleb has officially
Samsung.
called
I also think that there's something different because, I mean, I know, I get your point. Yeah, I think it's totally valid.
I get your point, but you're wrong.
No, you're not wrong. It's totally valid.
Said.
The thing is that, like, we get every time more stuff in this. Like, a TV doesn't have a camera, a TV doesn't have a battery, and a TV is big, and there's a lot of stuff that you can put it in it, unless you have, like, the wall or something like that. But you can, like, actually put more stuff in it because it's a bit thicker and bigger. Yeah. Whereas this, you want them small, you want them compact, but at the same time you want them to do everything. So if you want a better camera, you want better battery, which is like the big thing with everyone who like, do you remember battery the days when you charge your phone once a week or something like that? You don't do it that anymore. So like if you want them to get better, you need better technology and like everything in like this thin size.
I still think that it's about the commoditization of phones. You have to have a phone. Like you could have to have a TV, maybe you have to have one, but you definitely are not as prone to need the most advanced TV tech as you are the most advanced phone tech, because the more we live our lives on our phones, and we really do, we live our life through our phone, using our phone all the time, it's in our hands all the time, the more you need, the more horsepower you need, the longer it needs to last, going to your
and also the OS.
Yeah.
The OS, because my dad had a Galaxy S3 until like a month ago, and he's like, well, I had to switch to like a newer phone, not because it wasn't working, but because the OS just like doesn't work anymore in it. So I mean that you don't have like an OS changing all the time for TVs.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose that's true, but I think you're right. I mean, the bottom line is people will buy it. I mean, I guess when it comes down to it, people will buy these phones at $1,000. Tony asks, which phone will hold its value better, the iPhone 10 or the Galaxy Note 9?
I'm going to go with iPhone.
I would think so, too, just because
aftermarket iPhones still sell for ridiculous amounts of money.
Totally.
Like when you trade yours in, you get like Honda and Toyota style resale value out of it. It's crazy.
Even 2 years from now, I bet iPhone 10s will still have a pretty good value if you.
I still think the thing is that Apple doesn't have like an equivalent to the Note 9 because it's more like a productivity phone for business people, whereas the equivalent technically to the iPhone 10 is the Galaxy S9 Plus or S9.
Yeah, if you want to compare them directly to each other. Well, that's what we're taking a look at. So if you have any questions on this, we have the phone right here. What would be, whatever your questions are, whatever you want to talk about with it, we can absolutely get some of those answered for you. We do have a couple other things that we want to get to too, because I have to get to our robot actor at some point. But talking about the OLED screens, which that I think is an interesting thing when it comes to the phones, because Apple doesn't even make their own OLED screens. And just going from there to talking about OLED technology to MicroLED, and this is what I wanted to get to, is a discussion of those two things and explaining what those are, because probably if you're going out there and buying especially a new television, you're probably seeing all the different kinds of things. There's QLED, there's micro-LED, there's OLED. Like the differences between these things.
Regular LED,
yeah.
Unleaded.
Boring old LED. But especially micro-LED and OLED, as Caleb is our expert on this. I thought maybe you could give us like just a quick run through of what the differences are between those two.
Yeah, because you're going to hear about it a lot.
It's coming up a lot, yeah.
IFA, the big European Consumer Electronics Show, is coming up, and we're going to talk about what to expect on that next week. Surprise, that's what we're talking about, Greg.
Just there so it is.
Yep. Yeah. But then running all the way out through CES, this is going to be all over the headlines. So let's get you ready. First, we know what LED TVs are, but most people don't understand how they work. And basically, you've got LED lights sitting in the very back, shining through like multiple layers of stuff, diffuser plates and color filters and all this other stuff. And then ultimately, it hits the red, green, and blue pixels and makes the picture that you see. OLED or a micro LED TV uses individual LEDs as the pixels. So like organic LED, micro LED, you just charge up the pixel with a little electricity and it shines. It shines up red, green, or blue, and then you get a picture. So you can have a much, much thinner TV. You can have true black, really great contrast, really amazing color, and the big pitch over OLED is that since they're not organic, it's not like a gaseous material or organic material that, like all organic things, degrade over time.
Right.
It'll never degrade. You can never have so-called burn-in effect. And in theory, once you've gotten these little micro LED things small enough, they should be easier to make and therefore less expensive.
Okay.
So in television, anyway, if you want a competitor to OLED, which all us TV reviewers just go gaga for because it's really gorgeous. You've seen it. You know how gorgeous
OLED is, absolutely.
If you want a real competitor to that, you need an alternative to the traditional LED TV, which was really just an LCD TV with LED backlights.
Yeah.
Micro LED uses tiny light emitting diodes lined up as pixels themselves, which is just like OLED, only in some ways better. And so it could revolutionize television. But we know that Apple has invested heavily in a company that's developing micro LED. And even though it's hard to imagine it coming down to the size of a TV right now, like when we went to CES, we saw the wall, right? It was this absolutely massive wall-sized micro LED television. And it was basically a bunch of individual like iPad-sized panels. It was modular. They stuck them all together and it functioned as a TV. But they're saying that they can get this down to normal TV size really soon, and I believe them. And if they can get it down to phone size, that would be incredible, because OLED screens, frankly, they're not good for phones on the long term because, like I said, things degrade. And your phone is showing you a static display all the time. That's true.
So it's going to get burned in.
So it's going to get burned in. Micro LED won't do that. It'll be more efficient. It won't take as much power to juice it up, and it won't degrade over time. So yeah, we could see yet another screen tech completely revolutionizing phones. And you better believe that even though it's cheaper to make, eventually it'll be cheaper to make. It'll make the phone more expensive when it comes out.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the entire thing. And like we were talking about earlier, phones are just going to go up in price. You know, they're no matter what you do. I mean, we're at $1,000 now. That's becoming the new normal. So probably, micro LED phone comes out. Tag on another $200 in a huge marketing campaign, even though it's cheaper for the phone companies.
Yeah. But imagine this too. Like, we're talking about stuff that we can own and keep in our house. But think about all the gigantic displays that you see at like stadiums, at Times Square and whatnot. Those things, if you look carefully, it's very obvious where the pixels are. That is not a high resolution display at all. I mean, it's huge and you're far away from it and you get it, but it's not gorgeous. Like, the new signage could end up being absolutely gorgeous. Sad fact, at the Incheon Airport in Seoul, South Korea, LG installed a ton of OLED displays, and it was amazing. It looked beautiful. Unfortunately, they had to tear them down because they were running 24/7, and they degrade faster than normal people's TVs do. So they had to tear them out. But imagine a micro LED display or something like that going in its place at the airport, at the stadium, everywhere you go, could be just these amazingly bright, beautiful displays that really dress anything up, no matter what they're doing. So that's
how far out do you think we are for that?
I'm going to guess 4 to 5 years. Like we're going to see the first iterations coming out, but before it's like, yeah, it's definitely a thing. Kind of like OLED. OLED came out and it was for rich people. It only came out in a 55-inch TV, and it was super expensive. But now they're getting more and more reasonable for people, and it's been like 5 years.
Right.
So that's my guess. We'll see the first, consumer application of MicroLED come out, maybe just behind the commercial application. There's already cinema screens that are being planned, so it's going to change the way you watch movies. That's the other thing. Watching movies will be totally different. No more projectors. It'll just be a gigantic, super high resolution TV with amazing brightness that you can't get at the movies right now.
That's crazy.
Not without lasers. Like laser beams, man, are the only thing that can make it work. And laser beams are unstable and expensive. So that's the future of display technology.
I think that's great. Thanks for explaining that a little bit, because that does make more sense, because this is the kind of stuff that, like you said, it'll change how you interact with the world, especially, if you think about a theater. And that's just crazy. That's going to be a giant television screen instead of a projector. I mean,
exactly.
That's a whole different
way of
interacting.
Theaters will be able to fit more people in it. Yeah. You won't have to worry about blocking the projector. You can have even more extreme stadium seating so that nobody's head is in your way. Like these things matter. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Those are the things.
I mean, as far as entertainment goes,
right?
We're not saving the world here.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's not what we're talking about with this. We're talking about you can watch Jurassic Park with better lighting next time.
Yeah,
that's all it is. The dinosaurs look more real. All right, let's get to a couple other things here too, and keep your comments and questions coming through, and we'll definitely circle back around and talk some more about the Note 9. I did want to bring up a couple other things from this week that I thought were newsworthy. One being this: Apple got hacked, and it's been a bad year for a lot of companies when it comes to security, but Apple's one that I feel like hadn't really been hit by it too much, and they're really trying to keep this under wraps, but it's not really working. And they were hacked by a 16-year-old Australian student who attended a private school and apparently hacked the network multiple times and downloaded 90 gigabytes of secure data over an entire year. He was doing this, and they never caught on what he was doing. And so he
talk about microaggressions,
right? Yeah. Seriously. So he downloaded all of this. I guess he got actually secured authorized keys for logging into customer accounts, and then the only reason it sounds like he really got caught is because he started bragging on WhatsApp and in hacker forums, bragging about what he'd been doing for the year. And then eventually they were able to track him down and find it. He apparently stored it all on a PC in a folder called Hacky Hack Hack. That's what he stored it.
Oh my gosh.
That's what he stored it on.
The only way that gets better is if it was Hacky McHackerson.
I know, that's seriously. But yeah, Apple got hacked by a 16-year-old kid and didn't know it for a year. Like that says something. They're really trying to squash it. Apple admitted they're very sensitive about publicity surrounding this. But I mean, what does that say about security if Apple can get hacked that easy?
Oh man, we're all at huge amounts of risk.
Yeah, at this point, I don't know what really.
I think Apple is, I think they do better than anybody else protecting people's data. Say what you want about Apple, but when the San Bernardino incident happened and they wouldn't help the police get into that phone,
right,
because it would be handing over the core elements of their security system. I kind of respected that. It was a bold thing to do.
It was,
and it polarized a lot of people. But they stuck to their guns and they kept their security going. So that the fact that they get hacked in any way, shape, or form, and somebody got past that, and the fact that it was a 16-year-old
kid,
in private school, so maybe a little privileged, but clearly intelligent enough to Hacky McHackerson his way into this.
Yeah.
It's just amazing to me. Also, though, the best part of this story is that it's once again a perfect proof of the fact that the smarter you are, the more of a dumbass you are.
Oh, yeah.
Especially because the kid wanted to get a job at Apple. I mean, this is not the way to do it. I mean, I'll put you on the radar, but not for the good reasons.
Right, yeah. That was the thing. He was an Apple fan.
Could it be that this does end up getting turned around and that Apple actually does bring him on? Because, we know that a lot of companies hire converted hackers, or they convert them themselves by saying, listen,
here's a reward.
You're playing for the wrong team, man. Here's millions of dollars. Come work for us. I wonder if that actually could be the PR solution that Apple's looking for. Give me a ring. Tim Cook, because I can help you with this. I think they could turn it around by hiring this guy.
Well,
however, the kid is in trial right now.
Yeah. Is he?
So, yeah.
They reported it to the FBI, and then they reported it to the Australian equivalent. So yeah, he's going to get in some trouble. He's going into some kind of a juvenile court.
I mean, he's 16.
Yeah.
That's the thing. He's 16. Like, at 16, I barely knew how to use properly a computer.
And that's the thing, though. He's still storing it in a folder called Hacky Hack Hack. You know, I mean, I kind of like this kid.
Hubris is not this guy's friend, or anybody's, really.
No.
Like, that was a mistake. I wonder, at 16, I was trying to think, what was I doing when I was 16?
I was doing nothing then.
I was logging on to AOL to use their chat client with my 14.4 kbps modem, and I had mail. That was like my life at 16.
This kid is hacking into $1 trillion company.
Yep, so, he's doing better than me.
A little bit different.
He's going to jail, but he's way smarter than I am.
Yeah, he's young enough. He'll be fine. All right, well, the final thing I wanted to talk about was this, and then we'll circle back around and just wrap up with the Galaxy Note 9 discussion, was this other news that I just saw this today, and it has to do with a film that's going to be coming out, that's going to be directed by the same guy who did American History X, Tony Kaye. And he's saying that for his next film, or one that's going to be coming out in a few years, actually, so it's going to be a sequel, but he wants to cast an actual robot with AI that is trained in acting skills in an attempt to get it into SAG. That is what he wants to do. And so he's working on getting something trained right now, trying to find an AI that would work for something like that. Well, what do you think about that? Like an actual robot actor is how they're trying to portray this.
Well, if he gets in SAG, if that were to happen, like the robot the robot would deserve wages, which means that they would go to the robot, and the robot would have to decide where that money went. Do you
think that's the only way that it would?
Otherwise, it's slave labor, right? I mean, I suppose. How do you resolve that issue?
But it has no need for money.
No, it doesn't. But if it's in the Screen Actors Guild and it's protected by SAG's standards, that means it has to be paid on a certain wage. And I don't think that you could own the robot's wages. Like, I don't know. It's just a weird, messy thing to do. No, he's not. But which is why. Well,
that can be a slavery because he's not a human being.
It's just a machine.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
My phone is a slave.
If you the thing is, when the technology has a personality, when it can make its own decisions.
And that's what he's saying. He wants it to have its personality.
It's self-aware. If that ever happened, then that argument goes out the window. And what I'm saying right now, though, we're not close to that. But what I'm saying right now is the Screen Actors Guild has a whole bunch of sets of rules. I don't know that you have to be a human being to be part of the organization is one of them.
I'm not sure about like animal actors. Like, I'm not sure.
What do you do? That's a great question.
I'm not sure if they have a separate guild or not.
But all of this is based in, like, what rights you have as a citizen. And who's a citizen? A human being. Like, it goes down to what basic human rights are and what a country protects.
Well, I mean,
in the Constitution.
In terms of right now, we don't have a robot that, like, pushes those boundaries. But I wonder how SAG would handle this. Like,
I don't know.
What would they just see it as it was not a piece of equipment, you know? But
I mean,
to your point, it's not a human actor. Like, I don't know what they did for Lassie back in the day, or whatever animal actors they have. I'm assuming their owners get the proceeds. But are they in SAG?
I don't know. It's an interesting discussion. I mean, there's obviously a lot to think about with this, and we're not really close. But just the fact that that's a pretty major director. If he directed American History X, I don't know what he's done since then, but still, I mean, if they're starting to think about this in that concept of having, I'm sure he's not the only one, of having some kind of robotic actor interacting with humans. I mean, that's one of those discussions that we're kind of in that time frame where this isn't that far maybe down the road. Maybe a little further than we think, but not. It's something you can discuss.
Could it win an Academy Award?
An Academy Award, yeah. I don't know.
I think that's pretty interesting. Like, actually, someone who's not an actor, a human actor, won an Oscar.
Yeah.
Or what if some AI wrote a brilliant screenplay?
But that's something that could definitely happen.
That's not happening this year, but like down the road, I don't know. I guess
they're training AI for all kinds of.
They're going to have to
come up when it comes to script writing.
Yeah. Their own awards.
The AI script
awards. Oscar awards.
The Robot Overlord Awards.
Yeah, exactly.
That rhymes. I love it. Let's do it.
All right, there it is. It's set. All right. Well, I think that's about it for today. Just kind of wrap up. So the Note 9, you're a fan.
I like it. Yeah, okay. I really like it. I don't know if I had to buy it, if I would buy it, having already like a phone that just came out not even a year ago.
The Pixel 2, yeah.
Yeah, but I really like the S Pen. I think it's pretty neat. And
you know what I like?
I hate fingerprints, and that's the main thing.
I like whiskey, and I hate $1,000 phones.
Okay, all right. Well, there was Caleb.
Is that enough of a wrap up for you?
Wow. That just really got dark there. Well, Juliana likes tequila and seems to like $1,000 phones. So.
I don't hate $1,000 phones.
All right. You just hate spending the money on
yes,
them.
That's
true. You're just cheap. The Whiskey Mist should be cheap, though. That seems like that should make sense.
Yeah. I'm more like Old Forester than, Bullet, I guess.
All right. Well, I want to say
thanks. Dirty whiskey.
I'm just going to let it leave at that. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to Trends with Benefits. So we do the show live every Thursday at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, and then, of course, it goes up as a podcast. So hit subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and that way you can make sure you get this. And everything that we've talked about today, there's lots of articles at digitaltrends.com that you can check out. You can always send us an email, podcast@digitaltrends.com. And we'll be talking tomorrow at noon here on these same networks to talk about some movies and televisions for between the streams, movies and TV shows that we'll be talking about on that. So tune in at noon on Friday. And thanks for watching. We'll be back next week with another episode.
I'm going to try sending an email to hackboy at hackyhackhack.com.
Oh my gosh, that was so
See what...